Welcome back to A Boring Revolution, your number one news source for everything in regards to the Boring Company and Elon Musk. My name is Will, and I thought we'd do a news episode this week. Unfortunately been very busy at work, so I've not been able to prepare a predictions episode. However, there is a lot of news at the moment, so I thought we could go through some of the things that I've posted on Twitter. If you've not subscribed to the Twitter channel, please do. We do cover a lot of news on here, as you see. That's all tagged as hashtag the Boring Company. Okay, so great little article on Bloomberg. If you do watch Bloomberg Technology on YouTube, there is some good stuff about the Boring Company. Definitely recommend watching that. This article is just covering what Mark Benioff said, and he wants the Boring Company to come to San Francisco. Obviously, he wants to make it easier for his employees to come into work. He is the CEO of Salesforce. There are major transport problems in San Francisco, and they clearly do need the investment there. Good little article. This article is from the Times of India. Excellent article. Great little find. And the best bit is they have these diagrams here, and it shows you where projects are taking place for the Boring Company. You've got this little diagram of a tunnel underneath on 20th Street. Describes how it works. Got some interesting statistics in regards to the actual pods. It says here you want to cut it from 1 billion per mile down to 60 million per mile, which isn't actually correct. They want to get it below 3 or 4 million per mile, and they could definitely do that. But yeah, well worth having a read of that one. I came across this on Design, which is like an architectural website. They have this vehicle here, which looks a bit like a pod. Now, obviously, this operates on the road, but there's no reason as to why they couldn't modify this, and then it could maybe be used inside the tunnels that the Boring Company uses. But it's kind of showing you where transportation is going now. It's becoming a bit more personalised. Less people are going to be owning vehicles in the next 20 to 40 years. Certainly millennials are not buying cars as the previous generation were. Curbed. Curbed produced some good articles on the Boring Company, I must admit. Some of them are a little bit negative, but overall I think they're quite well written. This one is talking about Elon Musk coming up with the idea for his tunnels, and he had this vision of using like double-decker motorways, which sounds a good idea. However, from an engineering perspective, absolute nightmare. The top level would need to be easily 26 to 28 foot above the lower deck. If it's made of steel, obviously it needs to have some kind of fire retardant properties. It needs to be able to take the weight of large, volumes of traffic. You'd have to close off part of the motorway. You obviously wouldn't be able to put many columns in, so you'd have to have large open spans. You could end up with beams that are 10 foot deep if you don't design it correctly, because the load on top, it could be done. However, it would be extremely difficult. So then he obviously dropped down. If you read the article, he decides that that's not the greatest idea, and that he's going to do tunnels instead. So now we come on to this article. Elon Musk is talking about doing other things with the Boring Company, not just the personalised mass transit system. He's talking about using it for other things. So he was at this National League of Cities City Summit. I need to find a video for that because I've been unable to find it so far. If you do know where I can find that video, guys, please link it in the comments below, as I would like to watch that. I struggled to find that when I to look for it yesterday. However, I've not tried today. Maybe it's been uploaded today, I don't know. But if you can find it for me, that'd be pretty awesome. Yeah, I got an email in regards to this idea I had for the Hyperloop. Someone emailed me saying this is what they're doing for the Abu Dhabi project, although I was unaware of that. However, that kind of clarifies that my idea was a pretty good one. Although he seemed a bit confused as to how the outer ring would be supported by the inner ring, and I kindly reminded him that there would be some kind of ring beam at regular intervals in this space. It would probably be a castellated beam to allow airflow in between. The ring beam would probably be every 3 or 4 foot, maybe 5 foot. And where you have the columns, you would have a saddle that would sit here supporting the outer beam and the ring beam, and placing it on the columns evenly to allow for the even distribution of the weight of the tube. Just going back to this article here, not this one, actually this one. Elon has plans for more tunnels, this time for sewer systems. Yes, I think that is a good idea. The Boring Company can do a lot more things than just public transport. There are a lot more uses for tunnels, especially if you can get them to $3 or $4 million per mile. In fact, they would probably increase in demand as it becomes more affordable. So one of the most obvious ones would be water storage. If you could have some underground reservoir, rather than just having some huge void underground, you could have maybe 10 or 15 tunnels, all interlinked in a perfect rectangle, and then you could fill that with water. A lot of water is wasted in rivers. Certainly here in the UK, we take water for granted. Water is in the river gets towards the sea, and then it's just dumped in the sea, and it's almost like wasted money, really. A lot more of that water should be captured, stored in reservoirs, or even better, stored underground in various tunnel networks, and then it can be used in the summertime when we have droughts and periods of low rainfall. Another idea I had is for pumped storage hydro or hydroelectricity. So you can have quite a small reservoir at the surface. It wouldn't necessarily need to be that big, but underneath that you could have a huge network of tunnels storing, millions of gallons of water. When you need water at the surface, it could be pumped to the surface, but also you could have a tube that extends down from the reservoir into the tunnels below. That tunnel, that vertical tunnel, could be in excess of 150 or 200 meters deep, and you could pass water through that through a hydroelectricity station and generate some power. So it'd be pumped storage. Tunnels could be used for cables and utilities. Fiber optic cables, definitely that's going to be expanding massively over the next 10 to 20 years. Power lines, natural gas, obviously we're going away from fossil fuels, but if people want to use it for that, in addition to other things like power lines and fiber optic cables, then why not let them put, a 5-inch natural gas pipeline in the tunnel. Hydrogen, natural gas pipes could and probably will be replaced with hydrogen. There's plans for that here in the UK, so you could just have a 5-inch pipe which is filled full of hydrogen, and that is pumped to people's houses, and then they use fuel cells to produce electricity and heat. Someone on my Twitter page, I have forgotten his name, I'm very sorry, I'm sure I'll put it in the comments below if I can remember, suggested maybe using tunnels for cycling lanes, i.e. they could keep bikes away from transport such as cars and buses. That's where we have accidents, and yeah, I kind of think that's a decent idea. You wouldn't need that many tunnels. It would certainly make it easier in places like LA where it gets very hot, if you could have a tunnel and the temperature in the tunnel would be fairly cool, which would be great. And yeah, you could avoid major congestion points by going underground and using your bike. Obviously, you need some kind of system where people pay to use it. Maybe they have some kind of barcode on their bike or some kind of turnstile system at the entrance and exit of the tunnels. But it can definitely be done, and I would promote such a scheme. Sewage disposal, as you know guys, I've probably told you this 100 times, I worked in the water industry for nearly 3 years. One of the projects that I could potentially have been working on had I stayed with my previous company would have been the Thames Tideway, which is quite a large network of tunnels underneath the Thames. That is for sewage. It is a combined sewage system, which in this day and age is a bit stupid, as that involves combining sewage and rainwater into one pipe, which you don't really want to do. You want to separate the two, because otherwise you get flooding and then you get discharge into the rivers. Excuse me. So you could definitely use it for removing sewage. In some coastal cities, they remove sewage into the sea using a tunnel underneath the seabed. So again, that's another use. You could use it for metro rail, for the Hyperloop, and for a Revo. Excuse me guys, I've got a frog in my throat. Yeah, so I think a Revo would really benefit from working in partnership with the Boeing company if they want to extend all their tunnels. I believe Denver, isn't it? It's Denver where Revo are planning their system. If they could put a lot of the maglev system into tunnels, then that could expand the system in that area. Hyperloop again, Musk has already mentioned that he wants to use the Hyperloop underground in tunnels. And also kind of one of my final ideas is industry. Certainly a lot of food production is going to be moved into cities rather than having it in very, very large skyscrapers, although I do like that idea. You could have certain parts of it underground using hydroponics, and that would increase food production in the big cities. So those are my ideas. Thank you for watching today guys. A bit of a brief episode, but frankly I just don't have the time with work at the moment. This is the busiest time of year for me, so I'm going to do my best to try and get episodes out. Obviously the Hawthorne Tunnel is opening on the 10th of December. I will hopefully have either a live stream of the event, or I do know someone who is going to the event, so maybe I will do an interview with them after they have gone to the event and see what they think about the Boeing company system. But either way, I will definitely do something in regards to that 10th of December event. So thanks for watching guys. Please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, to Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. We definitely appreciate that. If you have any comments, please put them below. I do like talking to you guys. Any questions you have, any theories, any issues you have with anything I've said, please mention it below and I'm more than happy to have a chat with you. And if you do comment on a regular basis, there are quite a few of you, thank you very much. I appreciate it guys, it really helps the channel. So thank you guys, don't be boring, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.